Welcome to the PowerShell Podcast, your home for PowerShell and the PowerShell community. The PowerShell Podcast is a PDQ production, making device management simple, secure, and pretty damn quick. And now, here's your hosts, Jordan Hammond and Andrew Plaw.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the PowerShell Podcast. I'm Mega Legend Jordan, and I'm with
Mega Legend, dude.
And I'm here with the greatest co-host of all time, Andrew Plaw.
Thank you, man.
And we're gonna start off this one with a bummer because that's what we like to do. Is like to make people sad. Well, I assume they're sad. I don't know.
Yeah.
So this is going to be my last episode on the PowerShell Podcast, which is a bummer. But if people are worried about it, no, I'm heading into unemployment, and I have never had less stress in the last 7 years than I have right now. So this was the right call for me, and I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm happy for you, man. I know you've been in the public eye for quite a while now, and excited for you to get a chance to pivot, maybe do some more technical stuff and get some rest.
Yeah, I'm excited. We'll see how it all goes. I'm probably going to just disappear completely for like a few months and regather, but I'm hoping to rejoin in communities and stuff once I get resettled.
Yeah, I'd love to have you on as a guest sometime.
Yep. And that's the great news is your viewership is about to go up 1 because I can listen now.
Yeah, that's what we're going for. And the new year, that's our goal, was 1 additional listener. So yeah. Thanks, man.
All right. Enough of that. Let's bring in.
Hold on.
Oh, whoa.
We have a huge guest today
in
terms of impact. But I just want to let everybody know the podcast will keep going. We will keep weekly episodes coming out. Don't worry. Maybe some little format changes coming next year, but we will still be there for you.
Yeah, we've known since, I want to say October, and been prepping for this. So I'm excited to see where it goes. I think you're the greatest person ever, so I think it's still going to be a great show, and everyone should keep on tuning in.
Hey, Jordan, you know what? While we're here, I'm so proud of what we've done, man. It's been a journey, dude. Almost 100 episodes together. Whenever we started it, I'd never done anything like this before. And it's been so cool, man, to grow with you and to do what we've done and to have the impact that we've had and to really have created something that has been consistent and had some nice lasting power. And it's been awesome, man. And it's been quite the journey. So thank you so much for everything.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud of this, but I'm excited to see what you do with it. All right, now the reason.
Happier news.
Yeah. We got Chrissy LeMaire, the legend.
Hello. Happy to be on. Very sad to be losing you, Jordan. I have enjoyed. You guys were my #1 podcast this year. It was a goal, and yeah, it was. And it's mixed emotions. I'm very happy to be back. I'm definitely going to miss you. I didn't know the circumstances of it, and I do want to say, as somebody had actually recently said, "Hey, I haven't seen you in a while." I did the exact same thing. I took 3 months off. And because I was so stressed out, dude, I was losing my hair and like crazy shit was happening. And so I think that this is the right call for you. And congratulations, by the way, for the consistency for both of you with the PowerShell podcast. That's always been one of my concerns when people are like, let's do a podcast. I'm like, man, to get consistency past even 3 episodes is an epic feat. And you guys are almost at 100.
This is 97, I think. Yeah.
Amazing. Bravo to the both of you. Bravo to you as well, Andrew. I know that you're clumped. But yeah, you're going to be missed. And thank you so much for having me on such a significant episode.
Well, the main reason, and this is big, the first time you were on, you told me about Grand's Biscuits making beignets. And if the listeners of that episode didn't instantly do that, shame on you. I'm leaving so I can shame you now. Shame on you for not making Grand's Biscuit beignets.
So you had it.
Oh, so good.
Oh my God. I'm so
good.
Excited.
Thank you. It was awesome.
If you want to one up it, I don't know if I mentioned it in the previous episode, but if you fry it, so first you make some bacon, then you fry that in the bacon grease. But you should actually cut it with a little bit of like canola oil because I tried it with 100% bacon grease. It was very rich, even too rich for like a bacon lover. So that could be, the next thing, the next level.
So baking's changed for me recently because my wife we found out allergic to gluten. So I've been learning to bake, making things gluten free. I've gotten real good at cake. I have failed so hard at bread. But once I get bread in, I think I want to get puff pastry, but then I'll definitely revisit beignets.
Oh man, I was like, oh my God, my accent is too thick. He thought I said baking instead of bacon.
No.
Okay.
No, I'm just going through the cycle of things that I'm making. I'm relearning a new type of cooking, and it's been awesome.
That's super cool. I'm glad that there's a lot of resources now for it as well. I see it everywhere.
Oh, yes. Imagine dealing with that type of allergy and like you can't find anything anywhere. You're always having to eat weird foods when everyone else is enjoying
and
things.
Not eat out.
People with celiac had to go through a lot of crap to get to this point. So congratulations on making it
mainstream, at least in terms of you have options at places now and
even in
cool
Europe
stuff. Yeah. So it's the pre-show. We covered some cool stuff so far, but we have a blog from a very special author who might be present right now. And that is making VS Code themes with ChatGPT.
Hey! It was fun.
So you've been doing a lot with AI, but can you tell us a little bit about this?
About that one in particular? Well, I actually, I got on all of, I'm no longer on Twitter. And so I kind of started branching out, and LinkedIn is like a hotspot now, which is incredible.
Yep.
And then also Instagram. I did return to Facebook because I needed some social connections, and everyone there just kept mentioning the most amazing things that you could do with the pictures. So you take a picture, and if you have GPT, I think it's called GPT Chat Plus, or it's not Pro. I think it's Plus. It's like $20 a month, which is significant, but the value is crazy. So I just use it all the time for everything. And one of the things, whenever the picture feature came up, I was like, I bet. I went to this website and I was like, I love the color theme. You know that there are some blogs that are just very enjoyable. Their aesthetic is great. And there was one by Microsoft. So I took a screenshot and I was like, hey, ChatGPT, because I've done themes before. I have the retro wave theme, and it took me literally days. I would say 8 hours a day for probably 5 to 7 days. It was fun, but I'm not a designer. And so I also hated it. I loved the end product, but actually doing it was hard as hell. And all I needed was just a graphics designer friend, but I didn't have one. And so I was like, ChatGPT is going to be my graphics designer friend. And basically it's stuff that I used to pay people for, that I would be like, hey, can you please change these colors to this, $50, $100, whatever. And now I can upload it and say, hey, can you give me a VS Code theme that looks like this website? And it'll give it to me. And it worked, which was amazing. But there were some things that were missing, right? It couldn't get enough info. So I was like, I literally asked it, I was talking to a friend, hey, are you familiar with the 1984 unbolded Visual Studio Code theme? And it was like, yeah, I am. And I was like, so I was kind of building on it. And I said, anything that's missing from this, use an accented version of 1984 unbolded, dude. And it just smashed it together. It was beautiful. I published it, and I thought that I've been using it for the past 3 months, but I haven't. Now I'm back to it's almost Jordan style. I am back to a modern dark, which is beautiful. But it's not the one, but I did publish it so that people can see the possibilities, because nearly everything is possible with just $20 a month.
Well, some of your other examples is you took a picture of food and asked for a recipe, which
I did.
I love that one so much. You had it translate text from Norwegian to English.
I did. Oh God, I do that all the time because all my Norwegian friends tell jokes and stuff. And it's not like I could type it out, or maybe I could, but it's just I'm probably not going to get it anyway. So yeah, that's another thing. Thank you for remembering all of this, by the way.
I'm going right off your blog here. I'm looking at it right
shit.
now. And then, and this one I was confused by. Taking a photo of French rubbing alcohol and asking if it's the same as American rubbing alcohol. Was there a difference? Because
Okay.
I'd be shocked.
All right. So there's a lot of things I think that we assume that you're like, oh, I'm gonna go to the store and I'm gonna buy some like rubbing alcohol. And I go to the French store. I didn't have access to an American store, but then I got it and it didn't smell right. And it was like 90%. So I needed to know, can I stick this in my ear? Because I like to clean my ears. Like my ears annoy me if they're not super clean. So I like to clean out with alcohol and then it burns. And I wanted to make sure that I could stick it in my ear because who knows? It smelled like if your mom ever like used that was it acetone or something like that to remove nail polish. It smelled like that. So I didn't want to put acetone in my ear. And so I used that and it reassured me. I've been getting a lot of reassurance, from ChatGPT.
It's nice to have that, but I will say if it's done differently than capital apostrophe America, it's not right. Because that is true. I went 3 months without access to some American products, and I was surprised by how much it hurt. There are small things. You can't get like Jiffy muffin mix. We have the most superior toilet paper in the world. All paper products, we're so indulgent. Like our TP's like that thick, and then like our paper towels are that thick. If you get like, the good stuff like Brian and Shorman and stuff like that, and they have scented, their TP is scented and it smells fresh, but I'm actually not looking for that out of my TP. I just want some richness, and America brings it. I didn't expect to go into the latest in toilet paper technology, but the new Charmin, instead of straight line, they did like this squiggly line, so it tears easy, and you don't get like the tear down the sheet. It changed my life. I didn't even know how much I hated it until it was gone.
Kind of like whenever you have like giant ass paper towels, like this big, and then now you just split it, and it's two. Perfect. That's some of the things that we bring. This is
the hard hitting American exceptionalism that we want.
You'll rarely find it on this side, but sometimes I just like I miss it. I miss convenience. There are some days that I'm just like, man, I would love a strip mall right now. So all the things in a row that I can get.
All right. Well, this has been already. We've last time I believe we went off the rails many times, but that's my favorite part about these episodes. Is it's all just fun chat.
Glad that you like it.
We're all just people out here. Now, before I want to dig into all the ways that you use AI, because there's a lot of workflow improvements I'm trying to add to my tool belt. But before we pivot to that, I wanted to give a shout out to a new module from someone who may all know very well and may love very well, which is Fred. He has an AD LDS MF module, which is for this little project tries to enable a simplified content provisioning for AD LDS instances. You provide the content as configuration settings, and it will do the rest. So there's 2 stars on it right now. Let's get some more stars on that. Check it out if you're rocking some AD LDS.
So I like Fred labeling anything he does as this little project because everything that guy does is big.
You're damn right. Huge. Amazing.
Yeah. He's
very
awesome.
Thorough.
Mm-hmm. And I just, my other thing is he's so great at developing modules, but also he is so good at teaching. Like he's been instrumental in my PowerShell growth when I didn't know much and was asking silly questions, couldn't have been kinder, and really helped level up what I was able to do. So shout out. Fred.
Hours at a time. Like you can chat with him for 8 straight hours. You could chat with him and to see his presentations, he's like so pumped and into it and deeply knowledgeable, but totally doesn't make you feel dumb. I love working with Fred. I miss him actually, Fred. If you're listening, I totally miss you. We used to work together a lot, but then we both kind of went and did our own sort of projects. Because with the community, I will say that was something that I learned whenever I was a lot younger. People would message and say oh my God, I'm so sorry. I haven't been around. And I'm like, man, I appreciate every moment. And so I appreciated all the moments that I had with Fred. And hopefully, probably at PSConf EU this year, we'll be able to meet up and hang out. It's happening in Antwerp in June. And so if you're listening, if you're in America or Asia or Europe, anywhere in the world, come on over to Antwerp. Belgium has so much to offer, and I'm totally obsessed. You could take me aside. You could ask for all the reasons why. I'll name dumb stuff like the beef and the butter. In addition to the beer and bread, it's all bees and calcium.
Bees and calcium. I like it. So I will say, Andrew does lunch and learns occasionally on PowerShell, and Fred he hopped in one time to teach PowerShell basics, which that's a very high level person teaching the basics, which is awesome. But his take was great, and a lot of people took a lot from that class. So he's just always willing to jump in and be awesome.
Shout out Fred.
He's the sum total of what the community is, and he's great.
I remember the first time.
I'm so sorry. Go on.
I was going to say, I remember the first time that I was talking to Fred a little bit about something, and he's like, hey, you want to hop on a call and look at it? And I was so nervous because it's like one of your PowerShell heroes, like, oh my gosh, we're actually going to be on a call together and share screen and like learn things. I was so nervous, but he couldn't have been better about it. So I aspire to be like that in whatever ways I can be. Now, we kind of mentioned Fred, and I know one of the project that Fred worked with you quite a bit on was DBA tools.
Yes.
How's DBA tools in a month of lunches going? I know it's fully released. How's that reception?
It is. It's actually, so it's exceptional and amazing and awesome. And it actually led to a newer book that I'm going to be doing with Manning. I'd written to my development editor at Manning after the book was released, and I was like, hey, I know that Manning's never going to allow me to write for them again because it took me like 3 years to get DBA tools in a month of lunches out. But is it possible? Like, could I hire you because like what she brings to writing is absolutely irreplaceable. And she's like, oh, we'd love to have you write again. And I was like, I think I might have cried because I think that it was like such an exception for them because I was just super late with the book, which is one of the reasons that we brought on 2 additional authors and it was also the pandemic. It was pretty hard. But so like I wrote to her, we kind of kept in touch, and I wrote to her and I said, hey, what is Manning's stance on AI in writing? It really varies from school to school. I'm actually a part of some online groups that's like teachers using ChatGPT, et cetera. And like she wrote back, she's like, oh my God, you were successful with it. Like we're trying to implement it and we would love to hear more. And then that sort of brought about a book that I'm writing currently for Manning that'll be released probably in spring. This one I'm writing a lot faster first because it is DBA tools was probably double in size, DBA tools in a month of lunches. And it was hard. I also programmed as I was developing the book. And with this one, it's going a lot faster. We actually have about half of it written. And so, yeah, I'm super excited about that. And that's keeping me on using ChatGPT. So I'm doing it for the people because all the stuff that you're seeing on my blog and all the things that I'm trying is ultimately, I want to deliver a really good, solid book for people in IT who are like, I don't know how to use this, or like, I don't need a code. So how am I going to benefit from AI? And this book is going to answer that, because I just want to say real quick, like you could do amazing things like write your disaster recovery plans. You could do you could do your cover letters. If you're a technical manager, you can say like, here's a whole bunch of information and, can you remove my bias from this and like give me a report about this person and I could use it, so it can actually even remove, I know that it can add some bias, but it can also remove bias. I've seen it happen in my experience with it. So there's endless things that you can do with ChatGPT at work if your company allows it. Kind of like PowerShell.
So I think the big one there is it's a bigger deal than you made it seem. Remove bias is That's a huge, more people should be approaching that all the time. So now instead of having to worry about doing it, just say, hey, remove my bias for me. There's a lot of value in there.
I gotta say, that's what literally got me into ChatGPT v4. My first, and I imagine that people are going to be like, "Oh, this story again, Chrissy," but it changed my life. There was an extended outage at work, and as you can imagine, if there's an extended outage, people are going to get super upset, right? And I was one of those people that were super upset. So the report that came out of it, the AAR or after action report that came out of it was completely unacceptable. Like, to me as a professional, I I I mean, it wasn't even just that like my team was blamed. There shouldn't be any blame. It should be neutral. I don't know if you guys have read like Amazon's after action reports. If there's a huge outage, it's beautiful, especially when there was one written in 2017 whenever S3 went down, and it's like kind of like the pinnacle of what, we all look up to. And so I wrote to ChatGPT, and I was like, here's some information. Here's what happened. I am extremely upset. I'm writing this with bias. Can you tell me? And I'm also coming from, I'm not a manager. I don't write AARs usually. So I was like, are AARs supposed to mention the engineer? And, it's like, usually AARs do not mention people by name. There may be exceptions, but it's exceptional. And I was like, is it supposed to be like just a big blame party? And it's like, no, an after action report is created for this reason. And because of that, neutrality is the goal ultimately. And then I'm like, what do you think about this after action report? And it highlighted that it just didn't fit the format. And so the one that I made using ChatGPT in like 5 seconds, it took a day, it ended up being used as a template for AARs because it was so outstanding and thorough. And it was only one day of work instead of maybe a month of work, going back and forth. How do I say this? And one of my favorite things was I was like, this is what the engineer did. How do you say that neutrally? I want to include it, but I don't want to place blame. Right? Because the facts are important. Dude, it wrote it so beautifully. I probably cried, like, not just because I was worn out by that time, but also because I saw my future and that this is going to be so much easier. So yeah, it's not just, I know that, GitHub has done an amazing amount with Copilot and Copilot chat. But I think what's really going to change our lives is the people part of ChatGPT and how it's going to help us better communicate if we ask it the right things.
So yeah, it seems to me what everyone needs is, I was going to say Twitter, but you're off that one. On Mastodon, like a link. You go and you say, send this out. This what does the Mastodon call it? Not a tweet.
I don't even. Oh, it has been so much has changed in a year. Actually, I don't use Mastodon. I know that I was like, oh my God, I love it. I loved the idea of it. I loved that I was so scared to lose the technical community, and I was so happy to have that possibility on Mastodon. And but there were certain things that I didn't like about it that I can't remember. There's a feeling that you get, right? That you're like, oh, I want to post to Twitter, like back in the day, like this is fun and this is exciting. And I didn't have a bad time posting on Mastodon, but it wasn't exciting the way that Twitter was. And then I moved to Blue Sky. And man, it was incredible after being there for 5 months alone, like just yelling into the ether. The SQL Server community joined, and I was so ready for that to be the new place because it looks the same and you can control your own algorithms. But I just I don't know, maybe it's me, maybe it's everybody. I just I don't post much anywhere except for LinkedIn. And Facebook, and that one's private.
So, yeah, there goes my
blog.
idea. Yeah, I was going to say,
I'm sorry.
have like ChatGPT between it where I want to send this message and then it just already goes in on behalf. It's like, hey, we took out all your, in my case, hate speech because I'm a very vengeful person. But
You could totally do that. I literally used it today to write to somebody that I've written to a bunch of times. And I was like, write this professionally. I write this and impress upon them the urgency, but don't be a dick. And it wrote it really nicely, and we copy paste and sent that. You do have to know how to ask the questions. And that's something that I think that we're all going to pick up, or we won't need to know how to ask the questions in the future. Maybe there's going to be, an involvement to that. That's called prompt engineering.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting better at that. But you mentioned a life-changing experience that kind of sold you on AI. Prior to that, maybe I'm wrong about this, but I know we kind of communicate outside of the podcast occasionally. And I think that you didn't have the brightest outlook on AI. Is that correct? Like prior to the discovery?
Yes, that is true. I thought that it was very math centric, and I'm not a mathematical person. I'm good at logic, but I didn't see how it could apply to me. And whenever ChatGPT 3.5 came out, I was like, oh my God, like it was so cool that I was able to tell it, like describe this PowerShell script in the style of Stephen King. And it was so entertaining how effing well it did that. It did so many things well, ChatGPT 3.5. But I didn't find myself like wanting to use it. I thought it was super neat. So first it started out that, yes, I didn't want to get into the math. And then I saw the potential for me. Actually, I didn't even see the potential for me to really, 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 truly apply it until 4.0 came out. And that's whenever everything changed. So like 3.5 was fun. Was it applicable? I don't know. It didn't. I guess it's the difference between maybe like loving something and being in love with it. Like I liked it a lot. And we had on like 1 or 2 dates. Like she was nice. But then like ChatGPT V4 came out, and I still wasn't sold on it because I was like, why am I going to pay for this service if I don't even currently use it? That happens, man. I don't know if y'all have bought the Calm app whenever it goes on sale for 50% off. I get suckered into that, and then I buy it, and then I'm like, damn, I didn't use it. But I was listening to a podcast by This American Life, and it totally changed everything. I had goosebumps. It was the best episode ever. And what it did was that they were talking to some Microsoft engineers, and the Microsoft engineer said, look, with V3, it makes, it sounds like it knows what it's talking about. But what I did was I found this list of things that were not on the internet, and I asked it to stack it, right? So you had a laptop and some paper, some eggs, and a nail. And they were like, stack this. And ChatGPT was like, all right, so first, and I'm not, this is paraphrasing. First, you start with the nail, and then you put all the eggs on top, and then you put the laptop, and it was just impossible. The configuration that ChatGPT V3 came up with, or 3.5, just didn't even work. But with V4, they were like, it reasons, it tells you, first start with the laptop because it provides a sturdy surface. Then do, I don't know, the eggs, and it arranged it 3 by 3 because there were 9 eggs. So it knew that if you did like this, that you could put maybe some paper on top, and then you could put everything. And that story, I was like, oh my God, I have to get the subscription just to try it, just $20. And I did it. And at that time, we didn't have the pictures, and we didn't have the uploading and voice and video, or there's no video. We didn't have all the stuff that we have now. Oh, browsing. And I would use it. And there were so many things that I had wondered. I had actually pasted in some emails, and I said, I am thinking of working with this person. What is your takeaway? And I'd actually known the conclusion, and it guessed the conclusion. It said, based on your emails, and it did it like in a very, like, I could kind of, it was almost like a therapist kind of way. Like you can kind of draw your own conclusions, but I was like, just tell me. And I was like, just don't do it. And I was like, oh my God, it was so, so active. And it was very soon after that I went and I checked the policy at work if we could use AI. And whenever it said yes, I started working on the AAR and redacting stuff. It is very important. So what I do personally, and if you're using ChatGPT at work, you might want to consider this. First, go to like privacy.openai.com and you can actually, I think that's what it's called. You can have them not process any of your data. If you're a corporation, you can use Microsoft's Azure for open AI services that are like really business centric and privacy forward, et cetera. But yeah, so what I do is I paste it into like VS Code and I replace all of the words, like let's say it's, I don't know, let's just say that I would work for Google. That I would replace all instances of Google with the company and then all specific people with the executive. So I just gave their position, pasted that in, and then, got the information without giving out any information about what's actually occurring. I do change a small bit of facts. I don't know if y'all do this. I do this too, even whenever I'm blogging and even whenever I'm like talking on podcasts, change a little bit of facts.
It's a good call.
Yeah, and it's important to, and the main takeaway there's lots of takeaways, but a big one is don't just copy what ChatGPT gives you and paste it back in. You still have to go in and make it your own.
I think that in the beginning, just copy and paste it, man. That AAR, if I were to look at it today, I would have a more critical eye, right? Because it probably used the word crucial. It effing loves delve. Oh my God, let's delve into everything. Like there are specific words that it repeats a lot. And there's a style now that I can immediately recognize. And I even asked it, like, how can I recognize? I see it. If somebody wrote a book, I can absolutely see that. But man, whenever you just start now, give yourself a break, paste that in. And, if somebody's like, hey, why'd you use, a ChatGPT? Say, because I'm a forward thinking professional career person, and use it to your advantage, because genuinely all the young people, I've actually been talking to people that are like 23. I'm like, hey, you use ChatGPT? They're like, of course. And I'm like, at work? And they're like, totally. I'm like, for what? Now they're not using it, but I think for everything that it could. They're using it mostly to make sure that they come across as professional adults, which is great. But man, there's so much more that you could do, literally anything. I actually created a bot. Since the past year, whenever I talked to y'all last year, I think, I was pretty miserable and I was living in a different country. I moved countries back to Belgium. And I got a job that oh my God, that was super cool. I love Belgium. Did y'all see that?
Yeah, that's that is a Mac feature. I can't do it. Here I am.
Oh my God, I totally love that shit. Oh my God, that's super cool.
I'm excited for the people that only listen to the audio to wonder what's going on right here.
There's some like hearts flying and like lasers. And oh my God.
Just the best.
I love this. Yeah, so like there's been a lot of progress over the past year. And I totally forgot what I was talking about, but I do remember saying that the children are using ChatGPT, and there's so they are deeply embedded with it, right? And they are going to be using it and they're going to be progressing with it. Not everyone can, in my opinion. I think that the people that are going to benefit most from ChatGPT are the people who have the foundational skill set of what they're doing, and then ChatGPT will enhance that skill set, right? Oh, that's what I was talking about. So I do have, what's super cool, they have these things called GPTs where you can create your own custom one. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna create some for the community, right? So I created like a Cajun French bot, and then I uploaded all of my materials, a Cajun recipe bot, and I uploaded all my materials. You can't get to it yet because they don't have a store, but it's coming soon. But then I started realizing, I was like, wait, instead of just telling ChatGPT over and over and over again, I'm a SQL Server professional who knows a lot about PowerShell. And here's my entire background, make this applicable to me. I just created a ChatGPT bot for myself. that has all of this information. And I had totally forgot that when I was having it teach me JavaScript. So my new job is as a SharePoint person doing SPFX, which is SharePoint framework, and I need to learn it, right? So I give it my history and it speaks to me. Well, since you know PowerShell, it's similar to that, right? Well, this is kind of like the concept of SQL Server. And I was like, wait, how you know? And then I realized, I was like, oh yeah, I made this bot just for me. So I make bots both for the community and myself. And that's another thing that you could get with the paid version, but that is, it's going to change everything for very specific people, or maybe not super specific, but definitely people who know what they're doing to start with. They're going to just be astronomically productive.
Yeah, I've
I used to
heard
think
it.
nonsense.
I've heard it be pretty useful for even troubleshooting things like around the house, like a dishwasher, refrigerator, plumbing
Yes.
type stuff. Like even for more hands-on manual labor type jobs, it can be influential and helpful and empowering, which is really cool. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this tool develops, because you're mentioning the youth kind of taking advantage of it and stuff. And it'll be interesting to see how a tool like this changes the way that people do work as time goes on. I know there's a lot of concerns that people will lose all their jobs, but I'm not sure I see that future too soon. I guess some jobs can be sort of replaced, but I think it's really going to empower us. And if we look at the IT landscape in particular, we aren't doing amazing across the board at all these companies with all these insecurities. So having a way to empower IT people to do a better job, to communicate better, so on and so forth, a lot of things you've mentioned already, is going to be definitely a game changer. And I'm looking forward to it, because just in my lifetime alone, I've seen the way that IT and the way we communicate has improved a bit. And I think this is just another tool to help further that. I've also heard about people using the Azure, and I don't know all the specifics, but creating multiple bots that communicate with each other, where one is specifically for technical stuff and will get you the right answer. And then there's another one that's more for tone. Like, let's make sure we can communicate this in a way that is digestible by the end user or the customer or whatever it is. Have you played around with that or heard anything about that?
There's so many things on my to-do list, and Azure and OpenAI and all of their services is on that list. I have created a bot, but then I got scared because I didn't know how much it was going to cost. Because with ChatGPT, I pay first. You could pay like just a finite amount, just $20 a month, and you can chat, right? And you're never going to exceed that. But if you use the API, then you have to start keeping track of your tokens. But it's a very constrained pricing model that's easy for me to understand and check on. I don't know how Azure works, and I haven't had, or the Azure OpenAI services. I think they're called cognitive services, and I haven't had the time to explore to kind of have those safety guards before. So unfortunately, at this moment, ask me back next year, and then I'll have a bunch of information, because it's on my to-do list. But because I've moved to a different country, started a new job, I haven't had as much time as I hoped.
And I think these are also new services that are probably like other Microsoft things being changed. And to kind of keep up with it, you got to follow the PMs and the blogs to see what's actually happening. But I think this use case that the person was telling me was for more of a business. So I think the expense was a little easier. But from what you've said, if you're looking to make your own bot, you can do that with ChatGPT right now, and kind of create your own bot. And you can also publish it, right? I think I saw Doug published one recently.
Yeah, you could totally publish it. So you can have ones that have like just a link for yourself and people that you share it with, or you make it public. So whenever they come out with the marketplace, it'll kind of be like the App Store, but it's like ChatGPT Store. And at first, I didn't really get it until I started using it. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, wait, like I wanted to, and I was telling Doug about this. I was on his show the other day. I love my cats, totally obsessed. I have Kitty and Potato, but Potato's neurotic, which is one of the reasons that we just love him. He's super cute, but he has asthma and it gives him anxiety. And I was like, man, if I could just talk to Jackson Galaxy, the dude from My Cat from Hell, then he could probably help with these very specific behavioral issues. And so I reached out to his company, and they were like $1,100 per hour. And I was like, oh God, I can't afford that. And so I created a bot that was like, you are the, cat behavior expert, Jackson Galaxy. And you answer people's questions, and you just kind of like go back and forth with it, and you build this thing out. And so now there's less pressure for me to like know about potato specifics, because I could watch his behavior all the time, or I could just talk to a cat behaviorist.
So I can tell you, I know for a fact that guy listens to our podcast, so expect a bill.
No. Oh, could you like beep out his name, like just like specific parts?
So I hear you and Andrew both have all these real life use cases. Here's what I've done with ChatGPT. I used Dolly Image to have it make me a picture of a kitten kung fu fighting an alligator. That was important.
Dude, beautiful. Love it.
I did convert it to ASCII art with Adam Bacon's module. So,
oh my God.
Yeah, that's fun.
That's fun. And then when I got a cease and desist from the estate of Dr. Seuss, I used ChatGPT to write a response letter that told him to shove it in the phrasing of Dr. Seuss. I didn't end up sending that, but it was fun to read.
Is this true? Is this true?
Oh, yeah.
True.
Dr. Seuss came at me.
I didn't know this.
So my mom has a recipe book of all of her favorite recipes. Every Christmas, we get new pages for things that she's learned how to make. And it is for all 7 kids. So my wife had the idea making a web page just of all the recipes, and we could just upload them in there. And we called it Green Eggs and Hammond because we're very clever.
Cute.
Yeah. Cute. Yeah. Not according to Dr. Seuss. Not according to Dr. Seuss.
They found you on the internet.
Yeah, they found us on the internet. We weren't advertising. There was no ads or anything on it. It was just the name we had for a private one. We hadn't set it to hidden yet.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was about to say. They totally had a Google ad alert. But how would Google know that Hammond? Maybe it's just green eggs.
Yeah, green eggs. Yeah.
And then they didn't care. Oh, check it out.
I think I thought you were maybe partying. I don't know. I don't get those stupid windows.
Sorry. No. Max Fun is superior in this.
Yeah. So
behind.
Like I said, I thought it was a great name, but Dr. Seuss Estate did not. So the letter that ChatGPT wrote, it basically ended him telling him where to shove it, but it was all rhyming out like Dr. Seuss. It was amazing.
Beautiful.
It is now.
Did you really send it?
No, we sent a professional one, but we printed that out. We put that one into the new website.
Nice.
That is actually hidden on that one. And so basically the story of Dr. Seuss sent a cease and desist, and our response is in there for the family to enjoy. But yeah, they don't mess around.
Another cool use case that I've seen. Oops, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I just said I'm shocked. Go on.
So another cool use case that I've seen and used and encouraged others to use is for reaching out to like your local politicians or city commissioners or whatever have you to actually, communicate nicely about issues where you don't actually have to spend 20 minutes writing 3 paragraphs that sounds intelligible. You can just describe the issue, your stance on it, and they can send a very nicely worded message that conveys your point and makes you sound very intelligent. So I have certainly advocated for more pickleball courts in my area using that method.
Nice. I like that. I would like to follow up and hear if it's successful. Like if it's maybe, but I wish that we had a control group so we could see, should send it out to like somebody else who likes some pickleball and see.
Yeah. Definitely got to do more in that space, but it's cool how there's just such a diverse use case that can be done. Obviously we're PowerShellers, we're mentioning PowerShell AI and stuff like that, but I like to use it for in PowerShell registry keys, anything that has to relate to that. It's just a pain in the, I just don't have the brain space to actually remember all that stuff. I can, or I can just tell ChatGPT what values I want to change and it will give me the code. I don't have to remember it. More brain space for
every
other
time.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, with the registry, I don't think that I can write that code. It's very hard. It's different from regular PowerShell, in my opinion. And so, yeah, that's actually a really great idea. Next time I need to change some values.
Yeah, it seems like the time where ChatGPT would just make up modules that don't exist is past, which is nice.
I think it depends on the module or the model that you're using.
Yeah. So if you're using the latest,
That's also true. Yeah.
because in the previous versions, more than a grain of salt I'm going to put out there because it would just make stuff up.
I like what it makes up about DBA tools. At least like back in the day, I haven't tried it again. I do want to say this. I know that I'm talking about it I am excited, but I'm also extremely disappointed lately. I would say in the past, like there was like this September 2023 model that was the most beautiful thing that I've ever used. And that's where most of my stories come from, honestly. Since then, it basically tells you like before you could ask it things, and now it's like, here's how you can find that info. Dude, I could have Googled myself. And so I have to end up telling it, do this for me. And then it's like, sorry, can't do that. And I'm like, you used to be able to do it. And then it'll finally do it. It is currently, for a lot of the tasks that I'm asking it, it is frustrating. But I know that OpenAI is, they're aware of the issue. And they're looking to fix it. But a lot of times what I'll do is I'll go to the ChatGPT. Like currently there's a store, but only OpenAI contributes to it. And I'll go to Classic GPT, and it's not quite the superior model, but it's a lot better than what you get out the box, where it goes and it searches the web. And I'm like, I don't want you to search the web. I want you to just give me the knowledge that you have, because whenever you used to do that, it was incredible. So for anyone out there, like, I don't recommend anybody get the pro version if they're not already like into it and loving it until, I don't know, maybe it'll be better in January or March. But right now, sometimes I actively hate it.
Are you using PowerShell AI at all, or just ChatGPT interfaces?
I use PowerShell AI for his backend stuff. And I embed, so it's a required module for one of my own PowerShell modules called Fine Tuna. So before GPTs came out, where they made a really straightforward interface that I know that Microsoft Azure Services also has. Now you can just like upload things and tell it what to do. But before that, there was fine tuning where, and it's actually exhausting. So you give it a bunch of data in JSON-L format, and it's so picky. And you give it this data, and then you talk to it. And then if you don't like exactly like what it says, or if it needs more information, then you fine tune that model. And then you just have like infinite tunings of a model. And the concept, to me, it's not clean. Like, I would want to delete all my other models and just have that one, but everything depends on that previous model that you just, and they're like, yeah, that's what fine tuning is. You just keep tuning it finer and finer, but I just want to do one and done. And so that's where the ChatGPT bots come in. But yeah, I did use his module is the awesomest for interacting with the API services. So if you build something in PowerShell on top of OpenAI, then you can use Doug's module, which is how I use it.
Awesome. Yeah, and I have a link to that project in the show notes as well. Fine Tuna, which you actually got the image for it from Dolly.
I did.
Also,
oh my God. I did. I loved that one. It was one of my favorite things because it does have some mistakes in it. Like, AI has a hard time spelling in pictures. And I also used Midjourney for my building beautiful APIs in PowerShell Azure Functions. That one made a gorgeous flower that was kind of like a techno flower with, or like a network flower. It looks super cool. So I do also use those services, for in my presentations. That was another reason that I super loved ChatGPT, is because I do a lot of presentations per year on a good year. And I just didn't even have to go to Google, and I could ask it. So with APIs, I knew how to build one, but I'm not an API expert. I'm more of like an automation expert. So I was like, tell me tell me like the structure of what a beautiful API would be. Tell me why. Why do I love some of these APIs? And it was able to articulate human emotions. And I'm like, that's exactly why I love APIs. And then also it was able to explain it to me so that I could take that and then explain it to the audience. So that was one of my first experiences with V4, and I was astounded.
Awesome. Now, do you have a name picked out for this book that we're mentioning, sort of?
I wish I did. We've been going back and forth. I had proposed so the Manning has a lot of, they have quite a number of AI books, and they have a series called AI Powered, right? So the AI Powered Developer, AI Powered Search. And I was like, AI Powered IT Pro. And it just wasn't, nobody took to it. As a matter of fact, I learned something. Somebody was like this. So Manning will take your stuff and then like send it out to a bunch of reviewers who write back and they give you their opinions about your proposal. And somebody was like, IT professional sounds pretentious. And I was like, I do take critical feedback very well, because I find that I don't take it personally. And I find that's very beneficial for books, and I actually prefer it. With that one, I was just confused. And then somebody explained to me that IT professional is a very Microsoft term, which I'd have never known, because I'm very much in the Microsoft world. I'm in the Linux world, but I just thought that it was a general term. So to answer your question, it doesn't really have a name, which kind of bums me out. I think that it's going to be along the lines of AI and IT, and it'll address various roles, from database administrator, security, engineer, cloud architect. Like Brett Miller uses AI a lot, and he does big things for big companies. And it starts out with like help desk, and then just kind of like progresses from there. Imagine how it's going to change the world of help desk. Just be so useful.
Can I recommend a title for you?
Yes, please.
All right. Jordan Presents, an AI book by Chrissy LeMaire.
And yeah, I love it. It's kind of like those that Tyler dude, Tyler's Tyler movie, Tyler, produced by Jordan.
I'm gonna try to attach my name to a whole bunch of Manning books I have nothing to do with. That's my new mission. That's my new job. I thought it'd take a long time to find it. Here we are.
I have something for y'all.
All right.
This shit. All right, hold up.
There we go.
All right. This is
the Galaxy stuff.
So this is a Coca-Cola product called it's called Coca-Cola 3000 limited edition. I found this at a gas station in Belgium, and it says future inspired flavor co-created with AI.
Interesting.
I was very excited to try this. I'll explain it to y'all. So I'm going to go through the whole roller coaster of what it's like to drink this. So I'm going to sacrifice for everyone, because I've had this before and it's horrible.
Okay, I was so worried you liked it, because I was
horrible.
It tastes like sadness and depression.
Dude, it is. So my coworker was like, did you bring some of that robot Pepsi? Because if you smell it, so it smells like Pepsi.
You can't add taste buds to AI yet.
It's serious. But and I couldn't put my finger on it, but this is the grossest drink that I've ever drank. So let me try.
So I am relieved to hear you say that, because when you first pulled up, I was like, oh, I hope she doesn't enjoy that, because I don't think I could hide my disdain for that soda. Oh. It is so bad.
I can taste it through your expressions.
It is the worst thing I have ever had.
Wait, you've had it?
Yeah.
I'm just in the dark over here.
And Andrew, I'm a professional obese person. There hasn't been a new snack food invented I haven't eaten or drank.
Dude, it's so extreme in how horrible. I can't imagine a single person that enjoys it. So it's as bad as I remembered.
Oh man, you're a trooper.
Mm. Cotton candy trash can. Like it's
that's
just
it. Oh, you nailed it.
it's terrible.
But
That's actually one of my side jobs is describing flavors, by the way.
it's like old cotton, like stale cotton candy. So cotton candy that's become stale somehow. Maybe some
And
dryer
books.
lint. Yeah.
Like some old books. It's just, man, it's so terrible.
I hope that's not what the future tastes like, because
The future cannot taste like this. And hold on, I'm while we talk, Lou. Hi, could you please come try this Coke Zero AI generated product? And because you haven't had a sip, so this is brand new. She hadn't tried it. Okay, here you go. If you could first smell it, tell me what you think it smells like.
it's just mean.
Flat soda pop with maraschino cherry juice.
She said flat soda pop with maraschino cherry juice. Now taste it.
I'm so sorry.
Not very good.
How polite.
Kind, very kind.
They said you're very polite about your
Some
review.
sort of syrup, flat Coke, and old socks.
Yeah, she
Old
said
socks.
syrup, flat Coke, old socks.
Mm.
I was kind of there with the book cover, like
Look, we
going
said
to
trash
like an
can
old.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah. So this is pas bon, as the French say. I also have something else that I want to share real quick. Whenever I was on my 3-month vacation, I read this book called I Am Code, and it's by 3 dudes. And then it says, with a poetical autobiography by Code Da Vinci 002, which is one of the earlier models before ChatGPT E3. So they basically go through and have it do like poetry and stuff. And then they talk about their own experiences with AI. And I gotta say, I totally recommend this book. That the 3 guys, I don't believe that they are technologists. So they're like regular people trying to use AI. One of them might even be like a screenwriter. It says 3 friends set out to discover whether AI can write poetry about itself. The results are startling, disturbing, and gripping. And then J.J. Abrams actually said that it was fascinating and terrifying. And I agree. That was like that's what I walked away with, and I was like, all right, I got to either get on board or be demolished by it. And then I, went home and I used AI, and it was awesome.
All right, I guess I'll have to start using it for real. I can't say I don't use it for real things. Sometimes if I see a job I'm applying for, I'll take all the qualifications, like, hey, write this cover letter, and then I do a lot of cleanup on that one, because I just basically throw out like the whole things, and I remove what I don't do, and then I customize it to my experience. But it gives me the outline for a cover letter, because that's so time consuming.
It is. It is. It's very perfect for that. I have also uploaded my resume, and I was like, do you see some gaps here? Does this make sense? I actually rejected all of its feedback because I like my resume. But it was interesting to see. Well, I did pay a human being many years ago to help me rewrite my resume and to give me updated tips, which is something that I would actually ask ChatGPT now. Like, can I write it in first person? Are people writing it in first person? And I find that I enjoy reading resumes written in first person. And so that's how I use mine.
I mean, when you got your qualifications on there, I think most resumes will look pretty good.
I took it a step past you. I just went out and I married someone that could do it for me. It's like, well, now that we're
very
married,
nice.
Now that we're married, can you redo my resume? And it is fantastic. She should do that kind of stuff for a living.
Feeling.
Oh, wait.
It's still possible. I think that I would honestly, that is a task that I would trust a human with, even though I said earlier that I would use it. I think that what I would do is use it and then I literally rejected the changes that it suggested. So I would use it to kind of see, and then I would get a human to do it for me.
Yeah, no, it's
some things are just art,
Oh, man, I don't know how much it would cost to go to a professional, but
it's $100 for the whole resume. At least that's what I paid a number of years ago.
Well, it's way cheaper than a wedding, man.
Yeah. Wasted all that time, man. Could have just paid $100.
Here I am 11 years in, and we got a child, and for what?
One resume.
All right, well, I think we're going to skip the common parameters.
All right.
if that's acceptable. I mean, you've done
I
them
do wanna-
before. Go
I
ahead.
do want to bring up something real quick because it's about to hit a lot of companies. It hit DBA tools. So we code sign our module because a lot of companies won't accept a module that is not. There are a number of reasons why I do it. It is a big, huge pain in the butt that I have to like take pictures with my passport and like send it to these companies. And I have to do a lot to prove the identity of DBA tools. In the past, I have been able to just like save the private key into my Windows, certificate store and just sign the module. I even did it with CI/CD in GitHub. I put the private key there. Now they require a number of things, but one of the things is like a hardware token. So now I have to have a YubiKey. So if anybody notices that I am not releasing DBA tools as much, I need to get this key out into Azure because it'll work on there. They offer, I think it's probably called something like virtual HSM, which is probably hardware something module. Software, maybe. Security. Ooh, I bet it's hardware security module. And so watch out. Be prepared and give yourself a lot of time. Me and Jess Pomfret tried like figuring this out for months, and I was supposed to write a blog post about it. I don't think that I did, but just wanted to put that out there that now all software signing requires a YubiKey, and it's not a straightforward process.
And so storms are coming.
Get well, I mean, I don't think that many people sign, but companies do, and people who build that, or it'll be rough. Actually, I had to get that dude Jordan. No, wait, what man? J Borean.
Yeah, Jordan Borean.
There we go. Yeah. So Jordan Borean, thank God. Like it was taking us so much time to get this module signed. And I was able to finally get the first file signed. And then the second one, it would fail in the third and fourth and fifth. And I was like, why can't it just sign the first one? And he was like, put a start sleep 2 in there, make it sleep for 2 seconds. And that worked. So there's weird things like that with signing it this way. And hopefully I'll get some time to do, a blog and about this for the PowerShell people. But yeah, just want to put that out there.
So keep tuning into netnerds.net.
That's it.
All right.
Oh, she's having one more sip. I think this is a good episode. If people want to check out the YouTube version, there have been a lot of interesting visual things that have happened this episode.
We discover that the heart with the hands throws up. Yeah, it's been a big one. But man, that soda. Listen, being eloquent with my words is been my life for the last 7 years, and I fail to come up with the vocabulary to describe how much I hate that soda. So you are just a trooper going back to. Yeah, that's a good one though. I like that. I wish I'd have thought of it. I'm still in it. I might give you some credit in the future.
Dude, robot Pepsi tastes like trash can lid.
You're way better at this than me. You probably hear that all the time.
Thank you, Jordan.
All right. Well, I think it's time for this is my last my last hyping.
I don't want you to go, man.
Oh no, it's going to be great for me. I can't even. I wish I could explain how much stress I've and not. No, the podcast has been a very little part of it because I love this, but the stress that I felt was so deep, and I didn't even realize it until I got into therapy because I was falling apart. And this is absolutely the right call for me. It's just, it's not always fun, but I'm excited for it.
It's a very tough decision. Yeah, I commend you for it, man. It's very, very hard to pull the trigger on that. So congratulations. You will be missed.
Thank you. But what people don't know probably is the main cause is the pressure, the crushing weight of trying to accurately describe how good Andrew is at shilling has worn me down because I mean, every day I have to lift up greatness onto my shoulders, and the weight has just become unbearable. So, for the last time, let's sit back and watch a legend shill for the podcast. Well, not last time for the shilling. Last time for me hyping. Take it away, Andrew.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. Jordan, it's been a hell of a run, man. Thank you so much for all you've done. Chrissy, thank you for joining us for this very awesome special episode. Love chatting about AI. What would be really cool for this episode, if you have some stories about how the podcast has impacted you related to Jordan or some good feedback to share regarding that, send it to PowerShell@pdq.com and I'll compile that and share it with Jordan once we get some good stories and give him a nice little pick me up about some of the cool things that we've done here. If you're listening, give us a review. If you're watching on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe. Really appreciate everyone who does that every single week. There might be other stuff I'm supposed to say here, but it doesn't really matter too much. Chrissy, thank you so much for joining us. People are probably already following you by now, but your name is Chrissy LeMaire. Where is the best place to find you on the World Wide Web and keep up with what you're doing and maybe some book developments and all the other cool projects that you're associated with and working on?
I'd have to say probably netnerds.net, which is my blog, and also LinkedIn for now until, something awesome comes up in the future.
I've been liking LinkedIn lately. I like the fact that people kind of behave themselves pretty well there, and the long posts are helpful as well.
Very much.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for listening. Jordan, any final messages?
Now go PowerShell some crap.
Yeah. Amen.
Thanks for listening to the PowerShell Podcast. The PowerShell Podcast is a PDQ production, making device management simple, secure, and pretty damn quick.